Hello, sexy people. This is Jackie with the Sexy Politico coming to you for the first time in December. December 3rd is National Disability Day. This day was created to help bring compassion and awareness to those with disabilities, both mental and physical. To honor this day, I would like to talk about currently serving people in both the House of Representatives and the Senate who have disabilities. I know this podcast is meant to focus on women in government, but there has only ever been one disabled person in either the House or Senate, and that is Tammy Duckworth. And while she's awesome, and I will talk to her about her a little bit more in detail in this podcast, I would like it to last a little longer than 5 minutes. So the first person to ever serve in Congress that I could find who was disabled was Roswell P. Bishop from Michigan. He was a Civil War veteran and he lost his right arm during the American Civil War. He served in the U.S. House of Representatives for Michigan's 9th Congressional District from 1895 until 1907. Most, but not all of these people who are disabled have served in the armed forces. So let's move on to currently serving Congress people who are disabled. I'm going to talk about these individuals in alphabetical order. Jim Baird is a member of the U.S. House of Representatives and serves Indiana's 4th Congressional District. He was sworn in January 3rd, 2019, and was re-elected in 2020. Baird was injured during his military service in Vietnam. Baird lost his arm during an ambush on March 12, 1971. He won the Bronze Star and a Purple Heart, and his unit, the 523rd Transportation Company, was inducted into the Transportation Corps Hall of Fame in 2012 for its heroism during Operation Lam Son 719. Madison Cawthorn was elected into the U.S. House of Representatives this past year for North Carolina's 11th Congressional District. He'll take office in January of 2021. Cawthorn will be one of the youngest congresspersons to ever serve. At the age of 18 in 2014, Cawthorn was paralyzed in a car accident. He was the passenger of an SUV when his friend fell asleep behind the wheel while driving home from Daytona, Florida, and hit a concrete barrier. Now, let's move on to Dan Crenshaw. Now, he is also in the U.S. House of Representatives for Texas's 2nd District. He took office in January of 2019 and was just re-elected. He was a Navy SEAL, and he was injured in 2012 when he was hit by an IED in Afghanistan. He lost his right eye and needed surgery to save the function in his left eye. Crenshaw stayed in the Navy for 4 more years after his injury. Now, Crenshaw has a visible eye patch that he does wear on the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives. I'm going to take a moment and focus on Tammy Duckworth because this podcast is about women and she is the only disabled woman to ever serve in the House or the Senate, and quite frankly, she served in both. Tammy Duckworth is currently the U.S. Senator from Illinois. She took office on January 3rd, 2017. She was previously a member of the U.S. House of Representatives for Illinois' 8th Congressional District from January 2013 until January 2017. She was a member of the Army Reserves and was commissioned in 1992. She learned how to fly combat helicopters because at that time, it was one of the few roles that women could take that involved combat. She transferred to the Illinois National Guard in 1996. While working on her PhD in 2004, Duckworth was deployed to Iraq. On November 12, 2004, she lost her right leg near the hip and her left leg below the knee from injuries sustained when a UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter she was co-piloting was hit by a rocket-propelled grenade fired by Iraqi insurgents. She was the first American female double amputee from the Iraq War. James Langevin is a member of the U.S. House of Representatives representing Rhode Island's 2nd District. He was sworn in January 3rd, 2001, and he was reelected this past 2020. Langevin was injured in 1980 due to an accidental shooting. He was paralyzed after a gun accidentally discharged while on a Boy Scouts Explorer program at the Warwick Police Department. Langevin is the first quadriplegic to serve in the U.S. House of Representatives. Brian Mast is a member of the U.S. House of Representatives representing Florida's 18th Congressional District. He was sworn in January 3rd, 2017, and won election in 2020. Mast was an explosives ordnance technician for the U.S. Army. On September 19, 2010, while clearing a path for some Army Rangers in Afghanistan, Mast took a wrong step into an IED on the road. The explosion resulted in the amputation of both his legs and the index finger on his left hand. And lastly, John Tester is a U.S. Senator from Montana. He was sworn in 2007 and was reelected in 2012 and 2018. Tester lost his middle 3 fingers on his left hand at the age of 9 due to a meat grinding accident. Why am I talking about and bringing attention to others' disabilities? Because seeing these people shows the normalcy of disability in this country. According to the CDC, as of 2016, 26% of Americans have some kind of disability. That is roughly 1 in 4 Americans have a disability of some kind, physical or mental. Now, let's look at the House and Senate. Only 1% of senators and 1% of members of the House of Representatives have a disability. And does that make you wonder why these men and women may not fully understand how important the Americans with Disability Act is, how it affects the lives of American citizens, and how life-changing that this act really is? It makes you wonder about a lot of different things when these people don't really have the experience that disabled Americans do. Seeing someone who looks like you in government says that you are included in government. While this isn't a real person, Joey Lucas from The West Wing was important because she showed that anyone could be taken seriously in this government and could be treated as a trusted advisor to the President of the United States. While I know that Joey Lucas isn't a real person, I know for a fact that she gave hope to little boys and little girls in this country who were told that they couldn't be something because they're deaf or blind or have some form of physical disability. As I've said before, we can never understand what it is like to be someone else, and we need to stop pretending that we can. Well, that's it for this episode of the Sexy Politico Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Please leave a comment, review, share with your friends or even your enemies. Let me know what you think. Links are in the description below. And don't forget to stay sexy and see you next week. Bye.